Hi there and welcome to episode, I think, 136 of the ADHD Adults podcast. It says 137 on the script, but who knows? I'm James Brown, the man whose job it is to try and herd his fellow hosts into a semblance of coherence. And as usual, I'm joined by Dr. Alex Connor, who lists on his CV a job hunting and trapping, and Mrs. ADHD, who has, let's face it, more jobs than she's got ticks. That last one is clearly a lie. Alex, hi.
Hi. Ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go.
The mask slip there, I actually liked that one. I hate that.
I hated that song when I was a kid.
Oh, no, I didn't. I loved that. I used to watch it with my granddad. He had it on video and I used to love it.
I was already frightened of doing the same job every day, even as a little kid, because of the thing. And so I just felt sick at the thought.
Is that related to dwarfs?
Yeah.
Well, I just
Yeah,
thought we
the
said that
seven
after Snow
dwarfs.
White.
No, the song is Sam. He's
wondering whether
indication is that I've got a weird phobia or something of people who are short, which is ridiculous.
Anyway, Mrs. ADHD, hi. Has something gone wrong?
Yeah, she's muted
Sam's
again.
muted. Sam's muted. Amazing. Amazing.
I'm so sorry. Hi.
How are you both? Mrs. ADHD first, don't mute yourself.
A bit stressed.
A bit stressed, just a bit. For anyone that isn't watching on a video, Sam's at work. So we're going to try and drag this out until she gets caught podcasting in her office at work, hopefully.
I'm not in my office.
Oh, even worse. And Alex, he asks tiredly, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you, James. Hello, Sam. I like it when you're all stressed, Sam, because I can push those buttons until you go a bit bonkers. Always funny.
Thanks.
The metrics guy sent Sam and me a text on Monday that said it was called audience size last 7 days in parentheses. And it seemed, James, to be a long list of just numbers. I counted them. There were 394 individual digits in the text. It was sort of dates and big numbers or something. I don't know what any of it meant. One of those dates or numbers sent us a letter.
Dates.
Can I read it out?
No.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam. It's if I just check, it's from a Robert from Kidderminster in a way.
Oh.
It says, I listened to your pod EC, it says, on brains last week. Did you know that James' brain is bigger than average, but it's entirely smooth, like a shaved peach in those regions of the brain used for giving big talks and also for not drinking blood? I did know that, Robert. Thank you. Yeah,
It's factually accurate.
I've had a real letter. Can I read it out?
No.
Yes.
That's right, James. It says, "Dear team, your podcast has a tendency to give me eureka moments, and it's like you've reached inside of my brain and you find issues I didn't know were there. I can no longer keep telling myself I'm shit, which is incredibly frustrating because it used to be my thing. Thanks, a less shitty Murphsty. P.S. Any chance you failed comedians would do a fringe show next summer?" What I can only imagine is a winky emoji.
I've been suggesting that, haven't I? But that's just because I think a lot of myself. I thank you so much for that, Murphy. That was lovely. All I could think about during that was trying to make a joke about Eureka and saying, wasn't that the philosopher Epididymus? Which obviously isn't a philosopher's name, but anyway, that was wasted on everybody that doesn't do reproductive physiology. Yeah. That's a long pause. That is. No.
Yeah,
you're
Alex. Supposed to say, I think it was Archimedes, James. Internationally, Sam, really good question. Yeah. If I have to check my notes, and I do, we're up by exactly one country. Weird, but true. To 171 countries. It does feel like that, though. The weakest country is almost certainly not the United Arab Emirates, UAE. And frankly, purely out of malice, the script guy's chosen Hindi, which isn't even in the top 4 languages spoken in the UAE. I checked. So it's a hearty, oh God. Hello, our swagat hi.
Amazing.
So that was a bit West Country, wasn't it? Sorry, everybody in the UAE. I mean, about 12 people in the UAE speak Hindi. To the automatic bird repellent system they've got on the Burj Khalifa, which just plays our podcast on a loop. So Mrs. ADHD's voice scares away Eurasian collared doves so they don't shit on the glass. To be honest, it'd be less cool if they just stabbed them.
I do like that one. Anyway, this new Adidas trainer is copiously smeared with dog shit that I definitely don't remember treading in of a podcast is a tragedy in 3 parts. We choose a theme. Last time, I mean, I'm guessing because I can't remember, we did ADHD and brain networks. And this week, after the polls guy, I don't know, did a shambolically organized poll on careers, we're going to talk about ADHD and jobs or careers as usual. The 3 parts include the Russell Howard of evidence, Alex the Psycho.
I'll take that. That's all right.
Education monkey, telling us all about the topic, our personal reflections on jobs and careers, and then just a tip. We've agreed on that now, I believe, as the final part. So, Alex, I used to work with you, and I literally changed career twice to get away from you and still have to work with you, sadly. So show people why.
Because you have self-loathing issues. That's what. Okay. So, right. I mean, the impact of adult ADHD, untreated especially, in the workplace can and usually is pretty substantial. Employees with ADHD have to deal with imposter syndrome, just general frustration, disappointing the employer and our line managers, low performance ratings often based on other people's metrics. The key word there is that they can be substantial. Amusingly, I forgot to say the word can. It isn't all of us. It definitely is James, though. I've worked with him. If you remember the executive functions, which we harp on about all the time, like we have executive functions, well, these sort of self-management and organizational skills are often, as you well know, impaired in ADHD, particularly in interpersonal functions and occupational functions. So adults with ADHD are more likely, statistically speaking, not everyone, more likely to be underemployed or even unemployed. And there is some evidence that we are 40% more likely to be unemployed. Again, on average, not all. So not all of us are 40% unemployed. Doesn't make sense. Add to this rejection, sensitivity, emotional dysregulation, and like everything else, getting and keeping a job can be tricksy. A lot of this, I would argue most of this, is a them problem, not an us problem. Employers and companies are only now waking up to the idea of the fact that they are legally obliged to support employees with their ADHD. You know, like they would with any other disability, anything. It's the same. And with the right support in the right job, we can absolutely thrive.
Green, Sam, green. You're muted. My God, this is going well. This is going well.
Fucking hell. 1 second. What's the right job then?
Amazing.
That's beautiful. Have you thought about a career in podcasting?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, we're going to break it, James. We need to be kind. We need to be kind. Alert. I'm pressing the big red kind button. Shite question, as always. No, we got too far. So, yeah, there's no such thing as careers for ADHD people as such. The right job is idiosyncratic. It is personal, based on loads of factors. But we have to align our goals and our strengths and our reward system, short-term reward system, with what the employer wants from us, with what the employer or the business's values are and mission statements and those kinds of things. That's fundamental, but it has to be within our interests.
So you're absolutely right. I think I've seen well, the script guy told me when they were researching this script that there are loads of websites that say these 15 jobs are ideal for people with ADHD, etc., which treats us like we're all the same person, interestingly. So if that's not true, which it isn't, what jobs do we tend to do? I imagine ones where you aren't involved, preferably.
Yeah, actually, most of my jobs were not ADHD friendly. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
And you weren't involved with them.
Yeah. Oh, she's turned the mic on the Nash, James. There's no such thing as jobs for ADHD people, but There are things you can say might be more positive. I guess that's all you can say. But James, if you can just be patient, and you love working with me, and you know you do, if we look at the evidence in the literature, it's it's as bare as your snack cupboard, James, is when you're sad. There's almost no Twixes in it. I did find one paper. I feel I should. This was sent to me by the script guy. I don't know who that is. And it was written by, I don't know, Brian Brains or something. It was on pursuing a scientific career with ADHD, but it was so poorly written, I gave up after 3 minutes. And I am joking. I didn't read it in the first place. It would be rubbish. So the evidence around ADHD in careers is not there. Quick look around the internet, if you've heard of it, and you'll see that as well as having documented medical employment issues, it's often said that ADHD people are likely to be creative, work in creative industries, or be entrepreneurs. And almost all of this is anecdotal in nature. There is not a lot of evidence about what careers we tend to gravitate towards. A 2020 study reported no direct link between ADHD symptoms and entrepreneurship, which is going to get me cancelled because you can't say that. But there was a positive link between ADHD and one sub-dimension of entrepreneurial orientation, which is risk-taking, and between hyperactivity and entrepreneurship. Again, probably risk-taking being the key link. So we, and I mean we, very much me as well, decided to do some research. And when I say research, I mean a really poorly constructed and worded survey, which the research guy released. And yet, improbably, we had an unbelievable 1,651 responses in the first 24 hours. And when we were proper scientists, if we got that number for a survey, that would be considered nationally representative. That is, if the research guide asked people to put where they lived, a one-word question, which he or they didn't do.
I feel, I mean, the script guy feels attacked here, I imagine. Research guy, sorry, feels attacked here, I imagine.
And so he should. He's daft. Anyway, the survey asked people to pick from a selection of jobs taken from the government website, the UK government website. And then we added an other option as well. And the research guy has analysed the data. And first time in their life, it's actually interesting.
Took them fucking ages to do.
Fucking ages. While they were supposed to be doing something else as well. It took you ages to change because there were more than 10 respondents, and you've got fingers and toes. So anything over 11, and that challenges you really. Because you've only got 10 fingers and toes. Do you see what I did?
Yeah. So only 5 fingers and 5 toes.
Yeah. You've got a tail though, so you could have added that. A quick caveat: to ensure we captured as much data as accurately as possible, any answer in the box that we wrote called other was individually looked at and then coded to a career type. I did that. And to ensure I didn't. And to ensure we captured as many entrepreneurs as possible, anything that even smelled like an entrepreneur, that's weird. And anybody who selected business or finance, all therapists, coaches, including personal trainers, beauty, well-being sector people. If you had a side hustle walking dogs, if it could be considered entrepreneurial, we classed it as entrepreneurial. We had to combine some categories for ease of reporting, like IT and digital services.
Fucking hell, this is boring. Can you just tell us what the survey said?
It said,
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, it was really obvious when it signposted. I don't regret a thing. So, if we focus on the entrepreneurial question, defining an entrepreneur as a person who sets up a business or businesses, takes on financial risks in the hope of profit, in our weekly done shoddy survey, we found that 207 out of the 1655 respondents could arguably be loosely classed as an entrepreneur. That's 12.5%. As the research guy didn't have a group to compare to, shockingly, and as it's difficult to find a reliable source that just includes entrepreneurs and not their employees, A recent piece of research from the sublime and wonderful Aston University found that early stage entrepreneurial activity, just the first 3 months alone, makes up 11.5% of the working population. So we're not making a comparison. We're just trying to provide poorly collected evidence to match our poorly collected evidence. Evidence in rabbit ears for you, James, but it seems similar.
Gets to the actual result. Fucking hell.
All right, Brian Brains, calm down. I think there's so many words in this that James's jelly's turned to blancmange.
Fucking hell. They're coming thick and fast now.
Yeah, they are. Void list time.
We
will publish this in a report.
I said ding.
Oh, I didn't hear. I'm sorry. There's a delay.
I'm sorry. Carry on.
A double ding delay.
Mm.
Are you ready for the boring list?
Yes.
We're hopefully the charity ADHD Adult UK might publish this in the report because we did it for them. I don't know though because I've been ousted in a coup. People have started asking me, about that. I've had to say, oh well, I begged James if I could not be the chair anymore, and I just thought this was funnier because everyone thinks you're horrible, James. I've had to say that. Sorry. So in our boring report, the 5 most common job types reported in our survey were: number 1, 11% responses, healthcare, including medicine, nursing, pharmacy. 2, education at any level, similar numbers. 3, IT, which is quite a broad church of jobs, 8%. 4, creative jobs, art and so on, 7.5%. 5, government services, and separately business / finance, both at 4%. Less than 1.5% reported that they were unemployed, which we found interesting. Remember, it might reflect our listeners, could be socioeconomic, it could be lots of things, and podcast listeners. Remember, this is just a survey, but with such little data, poorly asked for by our research guy. It is, however, an interesting snapshot into the careers of our listeners and followers and how they report their current position.
That was, for once, interesting, largely because of the script guide, not your delivery, of course. And we'll now take a break and come back and dissect this a bit with some personal reflections in part 2. See you in a bit.
We're doing some dissecting.
Alex, hi.
Hi. What's up? Hello, Governor. Jesus already.
Welcome back to part 2 of episode 130. 5, 6, or 7, we can't remember,
6.
Of the ADHD Adults. We're talking about ADHD and careers / jobs. As always, part 2 is our personal reflections on the brain and ADHD, the script guy's written. Oh my God. This one really interests me. I love the idea of our personal reflections because the 3 of us have had relatively bizarre career paths and still do. I'm going to start with you, James. Come on, hit me.
I wish I could, honestly, if I could reach through this screen and do that. So many of my problems will be solved, Alex. Right. So the first thing I'm going to focus on the data first of all in my personal reflections. I was fascinated by the fact that healthcare and education came top, largely because those are 2 areas that systemically need more ADHD training to support the people that they serve. That's a top-down thing, not a bottom-up thing. I don't think people with ADHD in those sectors need more training. But we know that the education system probably, at least historically, hasn't provided enough information about ADHD and what it really is. And healthcare definitely hasn't. We all know about the lack of training and education in healthcare. And I thought that was really interesting. My personal reflections are that, I didn't join the workforce till quite late because I was studying for so long, doing a degree and then trying teacher training and then jumping out of that because that was a fucking nightmare. Doing a PhD, postdoctoral research after that is, I suppose, work, but it's almost like still studying, so it is a job. But while I was doing my PhD, that was from 99 till I don't know when. It took me like nearly 5 years to do my PhD because everything went wrong. I worked in a lot of pubs. I worked in video shops. I had a lot of part-time jobs. And I can honestly say most of those I left within a week. either because of RSD, that someone would just say something like, I'd work in one pub, go to another, and they'd criticize how I tapped a barrel, and I'd just say, well, I'm not coming back here then. Or as we know, that I've done this in my little talks, I left a Yates's Wine Lodge because Steve got praised for how he wheeled tables in, which I'd done for 3 weeks, and I'd never
did that
got
really
that.
well though.
Steve was good, to be fair. And I left, I quit, and they asked me why, and I said I got a virus, and they asked which one, and I said I don't know, because that's the best I could come up with.
Wasn't it they don't know?
They don't know. Yes, they don't know.
They
You're right,
don't know.
Alex.
I
They don't
love it
know.
so much.
I was ahead of the COVID curve by about 20 years. So I had
you
a
ate a bat?
relatively. Yes, I did eat a bat, Alex. Or that's a good one.
Yeah.
So now I then had a relatively long academic career as a biomedical scientist and latterly science communication. But the only reason I could do that, Rabbit, is the only reason I could do that, I now know, is because I found it rewarding. I found learning about biology, biomedical science, clinical science massively rewarding. I was a bit of a failure as a scientist because you have to bring in grant money. That's how scientists in academia are valued. You have to bring in big grants, so you become a professor. And Alex and I went a different route because we weren't very good at writing grant applications. But I found it rewarding. In research, you're literally learning stuff all the time, and that meant that I could put up with the shitter stuff, the marking 600 essays, the having to do admin. But it cost me my mental health. I burnt out several times. I was externally successful in that I got promoted, but internally just fucking hated myself and my job. And I think the last thing I'll say is about the entrepreneur thing. So first of all, one person responded saying you didn't put entrepreneur as an option. And I had to point out that it's not a job title. It's a description of a job activity. And if you put down business owner, for example, that would be a job title. And I think that if you look at the evidence around entrepreneurial tendencies, there is evidence from relatively small studies that people with ADHD are more entrepreneurial. The businesses don't do any better. But I think what you said about the risk-taking element makes sense, because knowing some ADHD entrepreneurs, they've often just gone for it, if you know what I mean. But I think, and this is my personal reflection, it's just me, but I've spoken to a few people and they've agreed. I do wonder how many entrepreneurs like me just realize they can't work for anyone else. They can't work under somebody else's structure, having to be where somebody else wants them to be at a certain time, constantly feeling like they're failing that someone else. But then when you're working for yourself, you have control over those things. And I think for some entrepreneurs, at least, the reason they do work for themselves is it's easier, I guess. Sam, or Mrs. ADHD, whatever I call you, what about you?
Yeah, I think that's probably spot on, actually. Yeah, I mean, we all know that I've had loads and loads of careers, and mostly due to imposter syndrome, that I think I'm shit, so I need to move on to the next one before somebody comes in and goes, what the fuck is she doing working for us? Get her out now. And when I think that moment's coming, I leave, or I get bored. And I've always tried to, we realize now that I'm probably autistic, so I recognize that there were lots of things that I found difficult that other people didn't find difficult because of my ADHD and autism. And I tried to put myself into careers where I thought, this will bring me out of the shell. This will teach me the social skills. This will make me interact with people so I'll get better. And I just didn't. Like, I can learn some things, but there's social skills, it's really, really hard for me to learn. And all that happened was I just got better at masking. So I've had loads of different careers, and the careers that I think are best for me are the ones that kind of play to that give my brain reward, I guess. And that's the key, isn't it? And my brain gets reward, this is probably the autistic side, from admin. I love doing admin, and my brain is really soothed by like repetitive, dull admin tasks. I love organizing things and people, but my ADHD brain doesn't like to kind of stay doing one thing for too long. So I manage somehow to have got myself an admin job where I do so much for so many different people and I do so many different things. I can flip from task to task to task to task to task to person to thing and it is ideal for me because it all gives my brain reward, but I get the novelty of flitting around. Alex.
No, you don't draw attention to the hand.
Oh,
It's like
sorry.
it's a device used in audio
It's really clever,
media.
yeah, because nobody watches this.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And what's great is you've managed to create these boundaries for yourself where you don't overextend and burn yourself out every day, which I think is really
Fuck off.
really well done you. Well done.
Oh God. Yeah, the worst careers for me actually were, and actually that is probably because of my autism, were the ones where I had to be really social, and they're the times when I really struggled. So, working in a prison, I had to deal with people all the time. Working as a cabin crew, which I did twice, I was putting myself out there, and I had, lots of pressure. So, yeah, this is ideal for me, but I think it's different. But what I'm trying to say is it's different for everybody. So this particular job that I've got works with the ADHD that I have. And it's my particular ADHD because it's my particular kind of special interests and things that give me reward. And that's why it's so individual, because it's what gives your brain reward and it's different for all of us. James, sorry.
James, yes, you.
This
you're
is
back there.
this is getting ridiculous now that Mrs. ADHD is giving better and better and more relevant answers to questions. We brought you on, Sam, to just be this chaotic comedy value character, I suppose.
You're a joke
but
character,
Sam.
But
you've now started giving that bit where you said this is for me is almost the most important bit that we're going to do in all of this, because that idea that societal idea that we're all the same, people with ADHD and those with coexisting other neurodevelopmental disorders, and therefore here is a list of ideal jobs. Well, no, it has to be personalized. We are all different and we will get reward from different things.
Yeah, and that's not the thing that anybody wants to hear, because we're rubbish at making decisions, aren't we? And we're rubbish at metacognition and knowing what we enjoy. So we just want to be told, this is what would suit you. Nobody knows apart from you. Sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
What should I do then,
about
James?
you?
Yeah, no, I mean, agree. From the survey perspective, I think there is something in those anecdotal reports that there are certain types. There are some jobs that maybe I can see why there are more entrepreneurs with ADHD. I can also see why there aren't more successful entrepreneurs. I can imagine that emergency medicine could attract, people like us for kind of obvious reasons, really. But
people like you. Oh, and me, because there's going to be blood there, isn't there, actually?
Yeah. Oh, we love a bit of blood. And there's a lot of admin to do as well, Sam. So the three of us.
Amazing. I was thinking of pharmacy, actually, all the stock, and that'd be brilliant for me with my ADHD brain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a very hard job being a pharmacist, though. You have to read out from a piece of paper and then just
no,
them
you
that thing
off to read. You could have stopped after read.
Oh yeah, that's true. Do you know what? From a professional, I've always struggled with jobs until I got a job that fit, which was really late in my career. I've always hated them. Delete whichever term you prefer for holistic or neurotypical or muggle socialized approach to what a job is. So sit in an office 9 till 5 and sit there doing nothing as far as I could see, like a wasp in the window. But at least you're present and that counts. And that seems to be what careers were always, in my view. And then suddenly, I mean, I was failing quite badly when we were at Warwick together, James. I just didn't. I wasn't able to be who I wanted to be. And then I realized that I'd only really got one skill. I wasn't clever enough to be the scientist everybody thought I could be. What I am quite good at is working with quite complex and clever people to help them develop themselves. And as soon as I realized that, I thought, no, I can do that instead. And so as soon as you find what you're going to do, great. But just like you said, Sam, metacognition, how do you find out? How do you find out? We don't just go, oh, I'm very much clearly.
And we're not very good at saying, this is what I'm good at. Like, we've got such low self-esteem and imposter syndrome. We'd never go, I'm amazing at this. Let's pursue a career in that. We don't. Sorry, carry
Exactly.
on.
And if we are good at it, but it's bad for us, we're going to say yes, which is just a really common problem. So I think what I will say is start to explore that. So the how is to start asking yourself questions. And because you don't know the answers, the only way to answer them is to think about the past and think this is the key coaching question really, is when did I have some sort of success? It doesn't matter if it's at home or at school or in a job or an old job you had or a volunteer. It doesn't matter what it was. But when did I have success that actually felt easy rather than hard? So that's the key question I would ask someone is when have you done? That's my top tip. Shit. Okay.
I was about to say, yeah, another word for that key question would be a tip, wouldn't it, Alex? Which is what we do in the last, the last part, the last part of the podcast that we've previously done 135 versions of. The last
or
part,
6.
The last bit, the last bit, or 6, the last bit, the Gabby Logan spunk trumpeting, originally top tips, top picks, topics, just the tip. That
doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Can you be more specific?
Okay. Well, at least you'll be quiet in part 3 then. We've got time for a game. If you finished, by the way.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we have. It's actually it was quickly put together because I didn't sleep for 3 nights before last night. Fuck off. So I panicked. But it's actually genuinely something which I found a struggle this morning. So in preparation for this recording, I broke or lost something, and the breaking was due to clumsiness, or lost something that was needed. And it might not appear so because I've managed to fudge something together. So, did I break or lose something needed for the microphone to work? Did I break or lose something for the lighting? Or did I break or lose something for the green screen?
Let's have a look. Right, that's a really tricky one. I don't think it was lighting because you're so pale that all you need is one of those like dark UV bulbs to light you up like a Christmas tree.
That'd burn me.
I don't think it's microphone because you've got about 12 of them to deal with. Sam screeching, I was going to say. Well, I have said it. So I'm saying green screen. You've knackered the green screen, so you've put a green t-shirt up instead. That's what you've done.
My t-shirt's on that big, but you're fucking right. No, I've lost I've lost the hook that you hook the green screen onto at the end of one of the rods ding. So it's very flimsy, I'll be honest. Fucking, you got it right. I actually think I counted wrong last time. I think that's either 17, 16 to me or 16 all, but either way, you're not winning. And that's the important thing, I'm sure we can agree. And on that important thing note, we'll take a break and we'll be back for Sam and I giving some top ticks. Fuck me.
What are we doing, James? I missed
top
that.
Ticks. It's just going to be Sam ticking for us and we'll vote on them and see which is the top one. See you in a bit.
Welcome back to the ADHD Adults podcast, episode 136, we think, where we're talking about ADHD and careers. In this part, we're going to talk about just the tip, which doesn't count, apparently, I was told. James, what are your top tips for careers?
I thought you Pam Dooved that when it got to the episode number. It sounded like you said, welcome to episode 136. Who's beef? So, tips. Alex kind of covered this. I mean, weirdly in the middle section, in the personal reflections. But what I put, which is now scuppered, possibly deliberately, is think about what you enjoy and think about what you find rewarding. Now, one of the reasons that people that ascribe powers and strengths to ADHD may do that is because they have a career or hobbies or things that they do find rewarding. They can engage with them. They can complete those tasks, get really good at those things. And for those people, it would seem like a power or strength. Yeah. But for many of us, trying to match a career to what you find rewarding or what you like is difficult, because I find this really weird. When you were at school, did you guys have like a careers advisor or have like a session of careers advice?
Absolutely ridiculous person.
Yeah. It was. I can't remember what mine suggested I should be. Probably a Dracula if Alex jumps in and gives an answer. But what I don't get, and I know there are I know there are some services out there, but they're very limited. I don't understand why there isn't greater career advice for adults. Now, there are some government services, there are some websites, there are consultants you can pay to speak to, etc. But I don't know why we don't have a more kind of robust and just a completely widespread. Yes, Alex.
Is it because we keep voting against our interests? By
Yeah,
putting
it is.
these
Yeah.
bastards in power?
It is. Yeah, we've systematically stripped the funding out of pretty
I
much
think
all
that's
services
related.
wherever. It's probably related. Now, related to that, I actually think as we accept that somewhere between 15 and maybe as high as 20% of the population are neurodivergent when you look at the different neurodivergent conditions and disorders, and many of us have multiple of those disorders, conditions, or at least their traits, we really should have more neurodivergent specific career advice, not just fucking websites put together by Healthline or someone else saying these 15 jobs suit ADHD or these 10 careers may suit your autism. Actual help and advice face to face, whether it's online guidance where you ask these questions about people. There are employment coaches out there. Again, there are services, but it needs to be wider spread, and it needs, in my opinion, to be part of the post-diagnostic process of looking in terms of the psychosocial needs of the individual at whether they are happy at work. If one of the two domains they had moderate impact on from their symptoms was work, well, are they in the right job, for example? Whatever career you choose or end up in, though, you still deserve and are entitled to support. Now, in England, England and Wales, I think you can get access to work. Actually, in the UK, you can get access to work, which can help pay for these things, and employers support that. But employers have a requirement to support you anyway. They just generally don't. But if you're in that situation where actually you're in a job that you do like and you want to do it kind of better or focus on it more, then ask for support if you're happy to disclose your ADHD. Alex, your cock.
Yeah, I mean, so we're being an ADHD coach. A lot of what we do is executive change and management in careers and in jobs and in hobbies and all those sorts of things. And it's pretty much all the same concept of playing to your positive strengths. That's the thing, isn't it? And that's easier to say than it is to know. So obviously, I've already kind of said this earlier on, but if you can think back, because just sitting there and going, okay, what do I like? I don't know. And my eyes look around the room and like Brick from Anchorman and go, lamp. I like lamp. I don't know. I don't know who I am, what I am. I don't know anything like that when put on the spot. And that's a classic ADHD problem, I've been told. So if you've got some headspace to do this, if you haven't asked, if you can't afford support, get a friend or a family member to sit with you and give them a list of questions such as when did you last feel successful? When did you last feel that one of those successes was easy? What happened? What did you do? Who were you working with? How long did that last? How would you feel applying that in the future? Because some of the answers might be, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I don't want to do it again, which I believe is the title of your sex tape, James. and so, that's okay. At the moment, you're not going, oh, God, I've got to know what I want to do. You're just trying to information gather about what feels like it might be a relatively longer term set of skills, not individual job, but set of skills that are, I kind of call it skiving in a way. When I was teaching, it felt like skiving. I couldn't believe they would pay me to teach university students how the body works and what drugs do and that kind of thing. I couldn't believe I was being paid for that. Whereas when I was writing grants, James, I couldn't believe anybody could do it. And even though I could get a grant and I was externally successful, I was so sad, mainly because I worked with you, but also because of the job, that it was somebody else's success. I haven't got any pride over any of those things. Whereas one teaching session where someone said thanks or that I get it now, I had more pride for that one moment than through my entire PhD, for example. So that's why. What about you, Mrs. ADHD?
Well, just from a little bit of a different perspective than you two, because obviously you're both really intelligent and successful. I know you won't think that you are,
No, I
but
do.
for me, it was it was like and even now, but especially back in the beginning, it was a privilege to kind of choose what career I wanted to be in, because you can't in the beginning, can you? And if you're out of work particularly, and there were times when I was out of work and I just had to take whatever job that I could get. So my advice to people in that situation is just get in a job, any job, if that's the only choice that you have at that time. Stick it as long as you can, and then move to the next job. Try to notice from that job that you're in as you go along, there might be tiny, and they might be the tiniest part of the job that you're in that you enjoy. Then try, when you go to the next job, to kind of overinflate that part of the job that you did, and try and get a job related to that, and try and kind of, if you can, be a bit mindful of the things that you enjoy in each job. And it's really hard because we're not good at knowing what we enjoy, we're not good at knowing what our strengths are. But yeah, and then once you get to that, once you've got a few jobs under your belt, then you're a bit more employable, as long as you haven't flitted around as much as I did. I wasn't that employable, but then I had to anyway. Then you can start, I think, to look at what are your red lines. You know, can you absolutely not work 9 to 5? Can you absolutely not work in an office? Can you do you have to absolutely earn this salary? And then you can look at, you know, what gives your brain reward. Is there any way that I could, you know, and if you can't get it in your job, then make sure you get it out of your job, because not everybody has the luxury to be able to get what gives their brain reward from a job. So try and make sure that you get that from somewhere. If it's out of your job, if it's a hobby, if you can make a hobby that you enjoy a career, if you can work for yourself and do something creative, then that's brilliant, because I know loads of us are creative. But yeah, all I wanted to say is that we don't all have a lot of choice over what we can do. So just do what you can and try and build on that as you go forward.
I like it. It's a good point, actually. We didn't say it, did we? But this is the privilege of having food and shelter. Obviously, you don't always have that privilege.
No, not at all. And you can always volunteer. If you can't get a job at all, you can volunteer doing something that gives your brain reward, or something that's linked to the area that you want to work in as well. That's really good. Sorry, doing something is always better than doing nothing to an employer, I think. I could carry on, so I'm going to stop. I could carry on for so long at this, because this is basically my thing, just going from job to job to job, but I'll stop now.
Okay, good, thanks. So that was episode 136, we think, of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we talked about ADHD in careers and provided some very shoddily put together evidence in rabbit ears. Yeah, Alex has put his finger up.
You know how I said I have to talk about my talks? Bear in mind, I've got a career.
Oh, well, yeah, but do you know? Yeah, I was about to say we've all got ADHD, so we'll pause that. So, what were you going to say, Alex, about your talks?
So sorry. I'm doing some talks in London and Cardiff at the end of this month. So I think I'm doing a day course in beginners ADHD on the 30th of September in that there London, and then Monday the 2nd of October, I think, in Cardiff, doing a seed talk on relationships in ADHD, and then back in London on, I think, the 3rd Tuesday, doing ADHD and RSD. With seed talks, go on their website, have a look, and James does cool talks too.
I love
no, shit talks. Came out of character. James does shit talks, big little talks, rubbish.
And you're not taking James to any of your talks, like he took you to your talks? No, I wouldn't bother
not
either.
interested.
And James, are you going to promote your talks, and then I'll have no talks to promote, because I'm feeling a bit left out? Actually, no, I don't want to do any talks. I thought you were going to list your talks now, and then I was just going to sit here saying I'm not doing anything.
I don't. They're on social media, aren't they? That's good enough. I don't know where we got with the end. I think this is the second episode on the trot now, where the end has deteriorated into just conversation instead of a structured chance for me to get the fuck away from you two. So
okay, do it.
If by a miracle you enjoyed this episode, why not help us support the charity ADHD Adult UK, which we are definitely not a part of. Well, Alex isn't, on the link provided, because otherwise Alex will have to register as a niche round-headed escort for women in Germany who like risk. As usual, contact us via the website if you want to send in any letters or topics or questions, and the website is the ADHDadults.uk. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye all.
Trigger warning klaxon. Klaxon, 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 big klaxon. Trigger warning klaxon. Klaxon, klaxon, klaxon.